Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. Goa Institute of Management, celebrating 25 years.
Founded in the year 1993 by Father Romuald D'souza, the Goa Institute of Management celebrated its 25th anniversary this year. GIM, as it's popularly called, witnessed a grand commemoration on the occasion as His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama lit the lamp to begin the year-long festival.
We now invite our chairman, Professor Ashoka Chandra, to deliver the welcome address this morning.
Your Holiness, it is a matter of great pride and joy for the whole Goa Institute of Management community that you have chosen to honor us with your presence. I also welcome Father Romuald D'souza, the first director of GIM, who with the help and support of other visionary founders set up this institute 25 years ago. We are into our Silver Jubilee year, thanks to the founders. We like to believe that GIM is not just any other management institution. It is special in the sense that it chose to define its educational philosophy, much like a thinking human being would, seeking self-awareness, who we are, why do we exist, what is our purpose, what are the core values by which we seek to live, and most importantly, what kind of human beings, our students, our graduates, we wish to send out in the wider world of action. One of the basic tenets of the GIM's educational philosophy is ethics and human values. It is our firm belief that it is possible to be ethical and successful simultaneously. Admittedly, it is not an easy journey in today's environment, and we need to learn and continue to learn how to live and succeed with positive values. Your Holiness, we seek your advice and wisdom to guide us in this path.
Thank you, sir. It gives us pleasure to now welcome Father Romuald D'souza, one of the finest educational entrepreneurs of our country and our founder director, to share his thoughts with us on this very special occasion.
If a couple of weeks ago, someone on this campus had said that His Holiness the Dalai Lama would preside at this Institute's Silver Jubilee celebration, she or he would have been looked upon as a dreamer. Today, the dream has become a reality, and the Goa Institute of Management is exceptionally honored by His Holiness's participation. This is an occasion that we all here present will not forget. The Goa Institute of Management has been offering the business ethics course right from the beginning, from the very first batch. The methods we have followed is the traditional rational approach. We put before the students reasons and arguments to convince them that what is logically considered right is good for them and for the society at large. As Your Holiness has frequently highlighted, ethics education should be the education of the heart, more than of the mind. An education that focuses on developing the qualities that make us truly human and ultimately gives us meaning in life. Our ethics course must develop in us inner values and moral strengths like compassion, forgiveness, mercy, and other virtues which make for inner peace. Ethics course should be a practical laboratory course. I should not venture to speak more on this topic because His Holiness will do it in a much better way than I possibly can. Your Holiness, we are looking to you for guidance. First, to educate our own hearts and minds for peace, and then perhaps by our example and behavior to encourage others to follow us. Thank you for participating with us on this very significant occasion. Thank you.
Ethics, values and emotion are an important part not only of business but of society in general. So the students that pass out from the Goa Institute of Management will have a large sphere of influence on industry because they get into industry leadership positions. So if we are able to get these people to see ethics, values as part of the way they do business, I think they'll be able to influence a lot more people to say the same thing. Therefore, we looked at who does programs like this, and we found MIT, the Dalai Lama Center of Ethics, runs a program like this. And so we were after them for quite some time to see if we could be the first institution in India where this could be done. Eventually, what we want is not just that it influences GIM and GIM students, but it influences our faculty, and our faculty become trainers for school teachers for primary and secondary education in Goa, so that then this ethics and values, as you know, will start off early in life. Later in life, you can do only so much. And that's the reason why we went for this particular program.
Goa Institute of Management, celebrating 25 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the most special part of the morning's program. With great excitement and anticipation, we now invite His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to speak to us. His Holiness will share his thoughts on today's relevance of India's ancient knowledge.
Respected elder brother and rest of brothers, sisters, I extremely happy come here and share some of my thought. I think in about 200 years ago, the technology, science is developed, and then separate education institution started because it's necessary. At that time, seems more balanced. Moral ethics side, church take full responsibility. The newly developed sort of education, mathematics, and some of the science or these things, then separate institution take care. So at that time, maybe more balance. Now time passes, people, there are more and more people, you see, who have no interest about religion. So then, they separate newly developed education institution alone. Now, you see, should take responsibility about moral principle. So therefore, now time come, I feel, that in education, we should include the education about moral principle. These days, I describe the hygiene of physical exists in our education field. Now we need hygiene of emotion in our education field. strictly secular way, not based on religious belief, simply based on scientific sort of finding, we can explain children. I think most important part of sort of hygiene of physical, you need peace of mind. So, hygiene of emotion is, I think, very relevant. So, now these things, global outlook. Then, from which tradition have the potential to fulfill that? Only Indian tradition. Only India have the ability to combine modern education and ancient Indian education about mind, about emotion. No other country, only this country. So therefore, I'm trying to revival of these ancient Indian knowledge about mind, about emotion, and how to tackle this emotion. Now today's world, heavily interdependent. Eastern world, their future depend on the West. Western world depend on East. Economically, global economy, no national boundary. And now more and more people showing interest about ancient Asian sort of knowledge, particularly Indian knowledge. Sometimes I sort of suggested Indian community in America and England, in some different European countries, you should carry, like in Diwali or New Year, some sort of festival, and invite some their sort of friends, some European, and talk about ahimsa. Ahimsa is the basis of religious tolerance. One Sadaji here, one Sikh Sadaji, I really admire Guru Nanak. He, Hindu background, he took pilgrimage to Mecca. So therefore, India, I think religious harmony over 1,000 years there. Before Buddha come, religious harmony already there. So therefore, modern India, independent India, greatest populated democratic country, very peaceful, and religious harmony, very much there. Now I think time come to show rest of the world religious harmony is possible. And combine modern education and ancient knowledge about emotion, then introduce firstly within the country, then we can show rest of the world. Not only physical well-being, but also mental well-being can make. So through that way, this 21st century, eventually our aim should be peaceful, compassionate century. Whenever some problem happen, and respect others' view, and respect others' right, then small problem there, through talk, through dialogue, should solve, not weapon. So, now this younger generation, now you should think this group eventually demilitarize the world. And in order to external disarmament, firstly, we should start to work for inner disarmament, reduce anger through knowledge. So now I would like to take some question.
Being a very result-oriented person, we often overlook the processes which we are going through, looking at the bigger picture. So while making these decisions and how can we make sure that we don't take wrong decisions due to our emotions while making these choices?
Ultimately, responsibility on your own shoulder. Analyze, ask some different opinions, then decide. Then take decision. Once you take decision, then single-pointed mind. Now I decided that, and then go.
What happens if everyone in this world becomes monk?
At least half, or at least I think 1/3 become monk and nun. It's the best way to birth control. It is quite serious now. When I first came to India as a refugee, then we used to say 6 billion human beings. Now, after 60 years passed, almost 60 years, now today's world population, 7 billion. We should sort of think the global warming and population. I think beyond 7 billion, 8 billion. I think very difficult. Nature resources now really facing. And some African country and many other country, water resources problem there. Okay, next question.
Life in a B school can be hectic. Sometimes you feel more mechanized and less human. How to find inner peace in such times?
Holistic, that's important. I think many problems, you just think yourself and sort of narrow-minded. Then the problem appears unbearable. The same problem, look from wider perspective. And also look, I think actually 7 billion human beings, everyone has some kind of problem. So think more wider perspective. Then same problem appears smaller. Then you feel more courage to tackle that.
Ethics is, again, principle-centered leadership is very important to us. And today's visit by the Dalai Lama is one of the cementing of that. And the whole MIT School of Ethics that's going to come to JIM. I'm sort of overlooking the 25 years of JIM now. In a sense, we have used the theme principle-centered leadership because what we feel is leadership, unless it's qualified by the term principled, can lead to any type of leadership.
This entire emphasis that Father D'souza started way back when he started the institute around value-centered and principle-centered leadership and education. So the entire thing around business ethics, around value system being very closely part, which is now being talked about by a number of organizations and institutions. That's always been around as one of the principal founding pillars of GIM. That is now coming into the way we teach and what kind of things we are doing on the ground. So all of that to me is the future of how management education will go, how GIM will start chalking itself out as a place where it is seen as newer ways of building businesses, new products coming out in an ethical fashion, which has got a social conscious to it, and an emotional application to it. So we're looking at this as a cradle for new age leadership around management and business. So that's how I see GIM progressing forward. The latest has been our partnership with the Center for the Dalai Lama Center for Ethics and Transformative Values. I think that's only going to augur well as programs come out from there. Similarly with other set of things. So I'm looking forward to the next 25 years of GIM.
It is the most eco-friendly of campuses, which is located in the foothills of the Sahyadri range, where we are embarked on a very aggressive and ambitious growth program to reach over 1,000 students and proportionate amount of faculty.
Goa Institute of Management, celebrating 25 years. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.